There's so much to get into. First off, happy Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth. Your boy was outside all weekend, so I'm a little tired. I'm a little not under the weather, but woo, man, a day of rest is needed because your man was outside all weekend. But it was a hell of a weekend. NBA Finals, Game 7. Damn, damn. If you're a fan of the sport, you hate to see that type of moment happen. Tyrese Halliburton going down with the ruptured Achilles. Um, my undergrad work is in kinesiology, athletic training, and so we used to study about the difference between different types of injuries and how they happen and different ways to test. And that was a clear dislocation, or what they might have called a subluxation, where the tendon just disattaches from the actual heel joint, or the calcaneus of your heel, right? And that thing just popped off. You could see his foot just drop, just elongates, and then foot just drops. And I was like, shit. Like that was so hard to see on so many levels. Cause I mean, as an athlete, person who's played sports all his life, I've had some really bad injuries. And man, you see stuff like that and it's just like, damn, it kind of shakes you, it gets you at the core because you never want to see that. It's just never a good feeling. It's never a good sight to see, especially in that type of a moment. There was a lot of backlash on Twitter, online. A lot of people were like, uh, criticizing people who suggest that athletes should play through, calf strains and things like that. But if I'm honest with you, I don't think it was the same type of situation as like a Kevin Durant. I don't think it was the same type of situation as a Damian Lillard and others. Each of these are a one of one. There are some similarities, but they're generally a one of one. The condition of the athlete, the age of the athlete, how long they've been dealing with the strain or the injury, things of that nature. Also, their injury history, their style of play. All these things goes into how an athlete performs and what ends up taking place afterwards. And Tyrese Halliburton, in his situation, I can understand why he went out there for Game 7. I don't even think it was a situation where his organization had to like try to talk him into playing in a Game 7. I think he's a competitor. He's someone who wanted to go out there and help his team win. That's just the type of athlete that he is, the type of guy that he is. And it was hard to watch because he started off the game shooting 3 or 4 from the 3-point line. He was having the beginning of the type of a game where you were like, "Oh, he's come to play. Oh, this game could be different. This might be this might be one for the storybooks." And then he goes down. And if I'm honest with you, Indiana never seemed to recover. What's good, Broderick? What's good, man? Salute. It's good to have you in the chat. You know, I was watching the game, and one of the things that I always pay attention to is, in heavy, high leverage moments, who steps up and who shrinks. I am a big proponent of watching who steps up and who shrinks, because that lets you know what type of athlete that you're dealing with. You see, some guys are talented, they're good players, quality players, they have a lot of skill, positional size, things like that. And you may look at them at face value, you look at their statistics analytically and say, oh man, this guy is a great player. And then you look at the playoffs and then you go, wait, what happened? What happened? Why why did this person's stats go up? Okay, they stayed the same. Oh, they went down. Oh, they went really down. And these things are really important to remember because when you're an organization that's investing in bringing in talent, you want to understand that your investment is going to pay off when it matters the most. Right? I don't think for a second Indiana regrets giving the max to Tyrese Halliburton. He deserved every bit of it. Um, when I was watching this game, you could feel his impact missing. uh, that this was a team that was ready to win with him. And I think I'm gonna be honest. I think they were ready to win without him, but the fact that he started off so strong, I think it got his team up emotionally, and then when he got hurt, it dropped him down even further. And they just never fully recovered. And that was tough to see because I was waiting for guys like Andrew Nimhart, TJ McConnell. I was waiting for Pascal Siakam and Benedict Mather. I was waiting for Miles Turner and Obi Toppin, Ben Shepherd. I wanted to see who was going to step up and say, I got this, guys. And you had moments. You had moments from guys like TJ McConnell. You had moments from guys like Andrew Nimhard even hit a 3 or 2, even though he looked, man, I think this was his worst game of the playoffs. I don't think he has played this bad ever in the playoffs. Um, and yes, I want to give kudos to the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm gonna talk about them in a little bit, but you have to understand this is Game 7. Andrew Nimhard has been playing as a starter against their starting unit 6 games already. So there was no reason that all of a sudden now their defense should have had this large of an impact on his game. And Tyrese Halliburton had been struggling with that calf strain throughout the series. And so it wasn't like he just got here. I think the pressure got to him. The moment got too big. And one of the things that I've been saying for a while now is that the 3-point shot has become the new bailout shot. It's become the new, I don't know what else to do. I'm just going to chuck up a three. I'm going to do the little James Harden step back and get it up because it's supposedly a good shot. And instead of having to try to create something, instead of trying to go get a bucket, instead of trying to, put a move on somebody, cross them over, like what happened to the crossovers of old? Like cats used to have a bag. Cats used to be able to get you from the right to left and left to right. Like my crossover was nasty growing up. I worked on that for a whole summer. Some of us worked on these moves for, we didn't have trainers. We didn't have a trainer to say, okay, we're gonna develop this step back. We're gonna work on this and we put you around cones. Nah, we saw a move. I saw Iverson with the crossover and then mentally logged it away, got my ball, went to the park and worked on it from right to left and left to right for hours, days, weeks until that thing was fine tuned, and I'd bust it out in a 1-on-1, a game of 21, 2-on-2, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, right? Like I'm fine tuning it. Some of us worked on our game, and some of these, if there's anything about the newer generation, I think there's a lack of creativity. There's so much duplication. There's so much trying to look like someone else who you deem as good. It's like in those moments when it's just you, I feel like those types of cats shrink a little bit because they know that they're not the guy that they've been trying to copy the whole time. Either way, I digress. Andrew Nimhar was a big disappointment for me. Uh, I appreciated TJ McConnell's effort, but he's limited. He's limited. Me and my boy was watching the game and we was joking. We was like, man, he's about to try to get his jersey retired in Indiana. Like, like he's out there playing like he's trying to, become the new face of the franchise. You know what I mean? Like if TJ had dropped 30 or more in that game, they was giving him finals MVP. Oh yeah, I was watching Earl Monroe's handle back. I'm telling you, man, like some of us back in the day used to actually, like develop your bag based on like, nah, I'm gonna create something. I'm gonna figure it out. I got a little move. Okay, I'll take a little bit of this, take a little bit of that, but I'm not memorizing. My crossover never looked like exactly like Allen Iverson's. It looked like that little right to left, but I really kind of got it off of a dude by the name of Ricky Moon. You know what I mean? That I grew up with in San Jose, right? Legend, legend in San Jose. You know what I mean? Same city Aaron Gordon grew up in, right? We used to hoop all day. He was about 6'4" cat. He used to cross it over so low I could never get to it. So then I was like, all right, I'm gonna do my right to left and left to right, but I'm gonna keep it extra low. extra low, and I would kill him. I would kill him with it. And some dudes don't have that type of confidence in themselves, and it shows up in these moments. Some guys try to do too much. Obi Toppin, and I'm not even mad that Obi Toppin tried to do too much because somebody needed to do something. Somebody needed to do something. Um, Pascal Siakam, I still want to look up and see if there was some sort of injury with him because the way he was playing, I don't know if there was a strain. I don't know if something happened, but he just disappeared in that second half. He absolutely disappeared. He was walking to the corner, sitting there, standing there, looking like a decoy. There's only one strong post up that he had, and he got to the free throw line against SGA. But I thought that the moment got too big for the team in general, and he was the one who was supposed to step up. The real person who really stepped up, if we're honest, was Benedict Mathurin. He was the one guy that looked like he believed in himself enough, even though he was forgetting to do other things. He was still playing his game, and he still showed I can be effective in this moment. And I thought that that was one of the biggest takeaways that I had for the Indiana Pacers. Somebody was doing videos about what it looks like for the Pacers to move forward. And I was like, yeah, that's something to think about because there's a real dynamic next season where the Pacers are probably just going to run it back. If I'm 100% with you, I think that there's a degree of shock from losing game 7 the way they lost game 7. Um, they don't have a first round pick. And they don't have they do have a second round pick. I mean, number 54. Okay. Okay. Uh, but when I look at this team, I look at an Indiana Pacers team that is young enough to sustain this level of winning. And I'm not saying they're going to run it back, get to the Eastern Conference Finals or the NBA Finals because it's hard as hell. And I actually wanted to start off this video by talking about just how hard it is. Like it's crazy hard to get to the finals. Like you just have to be lucky as hell that you're healthy enough. Healthy enough. Like the bumps and the bruises, like it's almost like they always say, it's like by the time that you get into the fight, everybody's hurt. Everybody's dealing with something. Everybody's got something. Everybody's got a strain, a tweak, a soreness, a bruise. Everybody's kind of limping around out there. They're just giving it what they got. They're giving it what they got. It really is a war of attrition. Throughout the regular season, 82 games plus the playoffs, trying to get to 16 wins in the playoffs. And Indiana had the fatal injury. But and here's the thing. Indiana's first major injury, if I'm honest with you, I thought was Jarris Walker against the New York Knicks. I thought he would have presented the type of versatile defender off the bench, uh, the versatile two-way player who could have spelled problems for OKC. 6'8", 7'2" wingspan, 240 pounds, but has extreme agility and lateral ability, great defensive instincts, intuitiveness, intelligence, understands where to position himself. Showed against the Knicks, he was able to guard 1 through 4, if not 5. He was able to check everywhere from Jalen Brunson all the way through Karl Anthony Towns. And I said that guy would have caused issues for OKC because now when you bring him off the bench with Obi Toppin, you have a great amount of size, and you still have that defensive versatility that allows you to keep up with the guards, get out in transition and things like that. He's a guy that also has some passing ability, stuff like that. Yep, and U of H produces great defenders. Facts. Yo, Sandro, what's good, man? Sports Times, it's good to have you in the chat. It's good to have you. You know, when I think about what the Pacers went through after Walker went down, I was like, okay, they're going to have an uphill battle defensively. And then when Halliburton started to get hurt, Indiana proved that they could win without him. Like, not so much that they didn't need him. There's a difference. but they were able to get enough out of him and everyone else. And this was a game in game 7. I thought they were going to get enough out of him to be able to have a chance to win game 7. And I think they did, you know. It was good. It was good, Joe B. It's good to have you in the house, man. But yeah, man. Let me see what else about the Indiana Pacers. Uh Man, yeah, really shocked that Siakam didn't step up more. I thought he should have shot it probably like 20 to 30 times, but I wouldn't be shocked if there was some sort of lingering injury. And after seeing Halliburton go down, I wouldn't have been shocked if just in the back of your mind, like, I got to be careful how I push off. Because here's the thing, it's not even about just being scared of getting hurt. It's like you don't want to injure yourself and now you can't be out there at all. You know what I mean? Like Pascal was, for all intents and purposes, their best defender, their most versatile defender. Off ball, on ball, switching, communicating, putting guys in the right place. He was their best rebounder. He was their best shot creator and playmaker. Like he had to make sure he could stay in the game. He just didn't have. I don't think he had a lot to give. But I'm kind of giving him a pass projecting. I didn't even look into it. So if y'all seen anything online about Pascal potentially having any type of injury or dealing with any type of aggravation, I wouldn't be shocked. All this to say is, if I'm the Indiana Pacers, I'm hurt to the core. This was a hard loss, but I'm not dismayed. I'm not dismayed at all. I'm not. I'm not dropping my head. Oh man, that's a secret identity, huh, Sandro? Mamushkavili. That's what's up. And that dude's a hooper, bro. That dude's a hooper playing for San Antonio. No, I think is he in Milwaukee now? Is he in Milwaukee or is he still in San Antonio? One of the two. But in terms of the Indiana Pacers, I'm looking at next season and I'm still optimistic. San Antonio still okay. I'm still optimistic for now, right? Because when I look at this roster, one, I'll say this much: Miles Turner played himself out of a major contract extension. Like, let me be clear. Oh, y'all from the same country? Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. Um, Miles Turner played himself out of a massive contract extension. His playoff performance, and somebody grab me the stats for him, please, for the NBA Finals. Just what he averaged, because he looked like he was having one of the worst appearances in the finals for Miles Turner. Miles Turner, because Miles Turner was supposed to be the 6'11" defensive stopper, and he did step things up defensively as the series went on. Oh, it ain't gonna be pretty at all. Yeah, facts. He played scared offensively, uh, timid and slow-footed for most of the series. The last maybe 2 to 3 games of the series, he stepped it up defensively. His rebounding was atrocious. Um, and he looked like he just forgot how to shoot and became passive. And if you can't hit your regular season numbers in the playoffs, that is a great way to communicate that your value is not necessarily the numbers. Yeah, 37%, 21%, 78% splits. Yeah, that's horrible. 10 points, 10 and a half points, 4.5 rebounds, 1.46. You know, I'm gonna be honest. That's probably closer to his value. Like his value is great for the regular season, and he's gonna shrink throughout the postseason. Postseason, he's the guy who's gonna disappear on you, and you're gonna have to have a contingency plan. You know, here's the thing. They had to give major minutes to Tony Bradley. Major minutes. Major minutes. They had to split major minutes between um information never hurt nobody. They had to split minutes between what's his name? Tony Bradley and what's my man out of the University of Indiana? Um the other center. Pull it up real quick. You know I like to keep stats with me. Thomas Bryant. The fact that they had to play Thomas Bryant and Tony Bradley 20 something minutes a game. Yeah, Tony didn't know what to do out there. Tony didn't know what to do out there. He's one of those dudes. Yeah, he got benched to close out the game. Yeah. I mean, that's just a terrible sign if you're the Indiana Pacers. He's been your longest standing pacer for his entire career. He was drafted there out of University of Texas, and you're just sitting there and you're like, man, where did you go? Where did you go? So if I'm the Indiana Pacers, he's probably getting something close to what he's already making. Um, he still has value, and you don't want to cheapen it. You don't want to like disrespect his value because he still was able to contribute throughout the regular season. But if I'm honest with you, uh, what he failed to do in the playoffs kind of held in check any idea of who he is. And at the same time, if you look, his stats have been going down over the past three years. I want to say 3 years ago he had his best statistical season after Domantas Sabonis left, and then he's gone down each year. And so now you have a guy who's descending while aging. And big men, don't always have the same lifespan as maybe guards or wings. Um, he already looked like he was running around on stilts. So I wouldn't necessarily be confident that he's going to have a great end of the stretch career. So I would say, somewhere around 20. What is he currently getting paid? Miles Turner's getting about 20. Yeah, I say he stays about 20. I might give him 24, 25, just to be like, hey, man, we really appreciate you. You've been the longest standing guy here holding it down. I'll give you props, but it ain't going to be no 30. I got to save that money for the guy I got to bring in behind you who's going to have to perform in the playoffs when you can't. That's the reality. Let me get to some of these comments here. See, how you feeling about OKC winning? Yeah, I'm about to dive into that, man. Um, yeah, mixed feelings. It's one of those. What you have to really accept is that no championship is flawless, is pure. Like you rarely get Cleveland, Golden State, um, Miami, OKC, where everybody's healthy, and you just see them slug it out, and the victor goes the spoils. Many times there's a road that's just littered with injuries, tough breaks. You got lucky, stuff like that along the way. Indiana's road, Milwaukee, they had a bunch of injuries. Cleveland had injuries, right? New York didn't have injuries, but they had Tom Thibodeau, you know. But it's just to say, it's like, they got there how they got there. Oh, the Pistons getting Gigi Jackson? Where'd you hear that from, Bronze? Where'd you hear that from? Oh, what do you think about our chances to trade for Gigi? Why? No, no, bro. If it's happening, no, and it's probably not happening. If we're honest, Memphis is going in a different direction. Memphis is going in a different direction, bro. And I'm gonna get into the offseason stuff. I'm getting into draft stuff later on in the second half of this video. If I'm the Indiana Pacers, I'm running it back. I might try to find a guy at the end of the first round who's maybe like a senior, athletic big, somebody behind Miles Turner. I might even look into James Wiseman and see how he's doing, if he's ready to go. But he probably needs another year to really get himself back. So I might look for a big uh, in the draft. But they've got guys that they've been drafting that need opportunity anyhow. Isaiah Jackson might come back from his injury. They're going to have Jarris Walker healthy. You still got Obi Toppin. You still got Benedict Mathurin, and that's probably the biggest outlook for the Indiana Pacers. And man, I've been on the Pacers for a minute, but they're in our division, they're in our conference, so deal with it. It is what it is. The Indiana Pacers probably start Andrew Nembhard, start Benedict Mathurin, who they've been trying to see, can he be our guy? And he had a great game three, 27 points. The rest of the, series, he was kind of mediocre, sometimes unplayable. And then in game seven, he had the best game on the team, right? He was the one dude that down the stretch you could rely upon to get you a bucket or free throws. He showed you that high end, I can be the guy type of mentality. And so if I'm the Indiana Pacers, I say, okay, let's see. This is your moment to show us, right? We can re-sign you now, extend you now, or you can bet on yourself and we can see. But this is the moment. This is the moment. And so I'll take I'll take a season of that. I think that could be a fun year. I think that could be a great year. Right? Nimhard, Benedict Mathurin, um, what's his name? My dude, I always forget his name. I don't forget his name. I don't know why I'm forgetting it now. Aaron Neesmith out of Vandy. And then you got Siakam and Turner. And then Furphy definitely gets bumped into the rotation. Uh, and then you're gonna have probably like Isaiah Jackson, Obi Toppin, probably get a Jarris Walker, and Furphy will be fighting with Ben Shepherd for minutes. And then you have TJ McConnell backing them up. And then they got what's his name? Quentin Jackson has actually always looked really good for them, but has never really gotten a real shot. So I think that's the type of situation. Isaiah Jackson may get re-signed because he's only 23 years old. I would re-sign him. I don't think I'm bringing back Thomas Bryant or Bradley. Most of these guys I'm probably letting, you know, let them go. But I want to see what I have in Benedict Mather and Jarris Walker. I think this is the transition into that next regime. And you let Halliburton sit on the sidelines, get healthy, you know, prayers up for him and his family. Now let's get to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Oklahoma City Thunder won the championship. They won it. They won it. I'm not putting no asterisks. I'm not doing none of that. I'm not doing none of that. Nobody put asterisks when Jordan faced the Lakers and Magic was hurt in that series. Worthy was out the whole series. No Kareem. There was a whole bunch of injuries throughout that for the Lakers, and then the Bulls walked to their first championship. Nobody put an asterisk next to when the Golden State Warriors walked through a bunch of injuries, like all the way through to the NBA Finals in 2016, and then they beat injury riddled Cleveland Cavaliers. Last one standing was just LeBron. Kyrie got hurt in game one. Kevin Love got hurt at the beginning of the playoffs against the Boston Celtics. Kelly Olynyk pulled his shoulder out of socket. Right. So, no one puts asterisks there. Right. And I'm not going to put an asterisk next to the Lakers bubble championship. Right. A championship is a championship. Right. It's hard as hell to get one. And if you get one, you get one. Right. The Raptors, too. Right. We're not going to go back and do that. So I'm not going to go back and do that either. Oklahoma City beat everyone else. Even though, man, Le Guin's Dort, I used to be a fan of his. I think he's just dirty now, man. He does some stuff out there. He hurt John Morant. He did some other stuff, man. And I was just like, I'm cool. I don't deal with people who play dirty. I just those people just get under my skin and I end up getting all combative and stuff like that. It's all right. But I still respect that they got there, right? Like they beat Denver. They beat Minnesota. Right? Those were no flukes. Even though Aaron Gordon did get hurt, he was a huge piece, right? Hit the game winner, I think in game one or game two in OKC, right? So, they had some breaks too. And they get a break. Okay. War of attrition, right? Set your team up to win the war of attrition. All right. So, yeah, yeah, yeah. People are not going to talk about it 10 years from, 10 years from now. But I would say OKC is a team that I think just has a bright future, an extremely bright future. You look at Chet, J Dub, SGA. That's going to be the core for the foreseeable future. Uh, what they have figured out how to do is to effectively draft and develop players to supplement their roster, and then be able to get off of contracts in time to bring in cheaper talent that fits their timeline and what they're trying to accomplish. Yeah, they got 2 first round picks in this draft too. I think what they end up doing is trying to move into position to get the guy that they need, the guy. And the guy that they need is a forward. They need that position that Kenrich Williams was playing. If I'm honest, the guy who they really need, who they would love to get, move up and get that nobody seems to really want. I'm tell you right now, Colin Murray Boyles. Colin Murray Boyles. That's who they would love to move up and get. I would not be shocked at all if OKC doesn't package, let's say, maybe Topic, their first round pick from last year, maybe one of the picks from this draft, maybe Usman Dieng, a guy who hasn't really been able to crack the rotation. And then they move up and they get somebody like that, right? A versatile forward who could come in, supplement that front court, give them some more toughness and physicality, some rebounding, interior passing. I think he could be a great glue guy for them. I wouldn't be shocked if they go that route in the draft. But shout out to them for winning a championship, SGA, winning an MVP, first player in the last 25 years since LeBron did it, to win MVP in the regular season and Finals MVP. Wait, no, it can't be 25 years. I saw a stat that somebody said it was first in the last 25 years, but maybe it was an additional stat as well. Either way, he's the first one since LeBron did it. Uh, so shout out to him. They have a bright future. J Dub showed up. Chet Holmgren showed up. I think that's going to be the recipe core as long as they can stay healthy. Knock on wood, right? We don't want to see any injuries, and continue to work that magic of that system. And that leads me into the draft because this is what I've been saying for a long time about the Detroit Pistons. You have to trust your draft. You have to trust your draft. You have to invest in your players. You can't afford to just let guys walk away and not develop because those guys fill roles. And when those guys don't develop to fill roles, you end up having to then go out and get that guy. And they're usually less talented than the guy you already had. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing guys like Marcus Sasser, maximizing guys like Bobby Klintman, Ron Holland, even a Tolu Smith, right? So you want to make sure that you hit on your draft picks. And when you have a talented guy, you got to give him minutes, which is why I did that Marcus Sasser video because I'm like, it's about time. It's time that Marcus Sasser gets his minutes. It's time that Marcus Sasser gets invested in. It's time that Marcus Sasser says, you know what? I'm going to demand that you guys play me. And I already did a whole breakdown on that. He's got to be a dog on defense from day one and just go get buckets. I don't think he needs to facilitate to the same degree that they asked him to last season, because I think that he's going to have enough facilitators between Asara Thompson, Jaden Ivey, and Cade Cunningham. All that's to say is Marcus Sasser, I'm looking forward to him. Now let's talk about the draft. Are y'all ready to talk about the draft? I'm ready to talk about the draft. And let me get some of these comments too. See, the thing is, Turner, any good? Then who knows? There's next center. I'm saying, Turner any good? Then who's the next center? Yeah, well. Yeah, they don't have a backup center. They don't have a guy who can be as good. And that's why I said I think they're going to give him a raise. He's going to get up to like 24, 25, maybe 26 million. I don't think he gets to 30. I don't think he gets to 30. I don't think that they're going to be willing to go into that first, second apron for Miles Turner. Like that would be a bad investment. It would be a bad investment. And like they always say, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you. The age old saying, it's better to trade a talent 2 years too soon than 2 years too late. It's better to trade a talent too soon than too late. And if Miles Turner, let's say a team out there wants to give him 30, sign and trade. Sign and trade. Let them know, hey, we're going to sign him and we want two players whose salaries add up to the 30. The reason why you do that is so that you can move off of one or both if you need to, but at least one of them to get your salary cap to where you want it. That's the type of move that you do. But I don't see another team out there offering 30 for Miles Turner. I just don't. I just don't. There's no team that needs a Miles Turner who should be financially able to spend $30 million for him. I just don't see that. Okay, let's get into this draft. And I always forget to get to all the comments. Look, if I don't get to your comment, like I said, if you want me to stop and talk about your comment, shoot me a super chat, and we will stop and talk about it. Otherwise, I can get to as many as I can. Man, I see Gigi Jackson. Yeah, I don't think we're trading for Gigi Jackson. I think Memphis is all in on Gigi Jackson, and Jalen Wells, and Vince Williams, and now they got KCP. They're going to be set. They're going to be deep. They're going to run it back, and they'll be fine. They got depth at point guard. They should be good. Let me see some of these comments here. OKC is just gonna people have the ability to turn into monsters later, and that's gonna be Colin Murray Boyles. I would not be shocked if Colin Murray Boyles does not turn into a monster if he gets drafted by the Oklahoma City Thunder. He could be a monster. His playmaking, passing, shot creation, physicality, interior play, and then the supporting cast gives him more than enough time to knock down threes. Now, somebody said he replicates what the other Jalen Williams on Oklahoma City does. I don't think so. I think he's far more agile and versatile than that Jalen Williams. Jay Will on Oklahoma City. They have another big guy. He's like 6'9", plays on the interior, but he's a five. He's a five. He's not a four. He's not going to defend fours. Um, Colin Murray Boyles, I think, is going to be able to defend 3, 4, 5. I think he's that versatile. I think he's athletic enough to be able to play the 4 and the 3. So I don't think that there's a lot of overlap there. He does similar things like passing and stuff like that, knock down the occasional three. Three. He will knock down the occasional three, but more than anything, he has the ability to take his man off the bounce and score and get to the rim. And I think that that's going to be consistent from the moment that he gets into the league. But I think OKC cycles it through. Let me see. Rasheer Fleming, him and Bobby Clinton wouldn't be a bad thing with Tobias Harris expiring contract. But here's the thing: Rasheer Fleming is not going to be there. He's going to be late lottery or just outside the lottery. He's not dropping to the second round. But let's talk about who I do see for the Pistons in the draft. They got the number 37 pick. And I think that the Detroit Pistons are going to be looking for players not just in the draft, but outside the draft. When I was looking it up this morning, players that they had brought in for workouts. They brought in a lot of guys who are expected to not be drafted. And I think many teams are, because you can find guys who can contribute to winning, like the TJ McConnell types, the Ty Jerome types. You can get those types of guys out of the draft altogether. So you don't necessarily need to get them with your draft pick. And if I'm honest, some of these guys would actually prefer to be drafted uh, outside of the draft, or I'm sorry, signed outside of the draft because they can get more money and they can get a longer term contract. They can get a guaranteed 2 years or something like that instead of being drafted in the second round for less money and potentially less guaranteed years on the contract. Now, with the Detroit Pistons, let's just start off with the number 37 pick. Some of these comments here first. Let me see. Detroit Red was good, man. I was watching different podcasts and they was talking about sign and trade with Dallas for PJ Washington for Dennis Schroeder. Yeah, I would not be shocked if they did that. I talked about that a while ago. If the Detroit Pistons wanted to sign and trade Dennis Schroeder for PJ Washington, that would be an amazing pickup. I'm all for it. I think PJ Washington fits the timeline, and he has the versatile skill set that we need. He's not quite Jabari Smith Jr. He's a little bit more seasoned than Jabari Smith Jr. I think he's that mold of a player. Maybe a little bit better off the bounce and passing, but I think Jabari is a little bit better shooter. He's also taller and bigger, but he fits the mold. Fits the Swiss Army knife, versatile two-way, defensive-minded forward to plug in next to Jalen Duren. So if they did that type of a move, salute. Good job. I also think Bobby Clinton is going to be able to play the three as well as the four. So if Tobias Harris is moved to the four, to that forward position, I'm okay with that. Or I should say Tobias Harris being moved to the forward position off the bench. If he gets moved to power forward off the bench next to Isaiah Stewart, I could see that. And then you have Bobby Clinton playing some of that small forward role, and then Ron Holland at the two. And I've been saying Ron Holland is going to play a lot of two this year. Like he's going to play a lot of two coming up next season. When I look at the 37 pick, there's one major glaring position of need, and that's on the wing. That guard wing position. We need another athletic guy who can be dynamic and a two-way player outside of Ron Holland off the bench. As we saw, the war of attrition, right? Guys get hurt. You need guys who can step up and continue to play the style of play that your team is forming an identity around. Ron Holland has been great. But behind him, who else do we have? An athletic wing who can defend, get out in transition, put pressure on the rim. And so there's a lot of different directions that we can go. And I'm going to talk through some of them. All right. And I'm trying to get to some of these comments here as well as I do. Let me see. Let me see. Yep, talked about that. Low-key nervous for the Trajan press conference tomorrow. You know what? It'll be what it is, bro. It'll be what it is because, you know, I can't be mad at a team if they look and they say, "Oh, the Pacers just lost their All NBA guard." They're probably taking a step back, even if being competitive still. Milwaukee is going to take a step back. Philly, who knows? We might be stepping into our window right now. But at the same time, I think it would be foolish to do it this soon. I think that's the type of move that you make at the trade deadline. That's the type of move that you do like what Indiana did last season at the trade deadline, and they went out and got Pascal Siakam. I think that's a move that you make if you see your team is right there in the mix. They're beating the best teams. They're showing they can compete with anybody, and they just need that piece. That's when you make that move at the trade deadline. But I would stick to the game plan. Let's see what we have in this core for the first half of the season, at least next year or next season, because it starts still this year. The first person that I want to talk about in this draft. Now, I'm going to talk about a couple guys who I think could fall in the draft. Could fall. The first one, what about giving 6'11", 7-foot Tolu some run at the four? No. Tolu Smith is not playing power forward. No, it's not happening. He is a center of a center of a center of a center. He plays center. He is not playing power forward. He's not chasing a shooting power. No. The first guy I want to point out that I think could be an option, like a legitimate option, Ben Seraph. Ben Seraph is a guy internationally 6'6" point guard, really aggressive, gets downhill, can facilitate. I think a better passing Ty Jerome without the shooting. Very aggressive, good positional size, playing in the EuroLeague, um, getting major minutes. I think he's playing for Maccabi Tel Aviv. Anyways, he's paying for one of the bigger programs. Radio Farm Om. And let me see. It doesn't say where. I think it's Spain. I'm pretty sure it's Spain. Either way, Ben Seraph, 6'5", 6'6" point guard, good facilitator, gets downhill, gets to the rim. He's the type of guy that I think he could plug in very easily next to Marcus Sasser and Ron Holland. The only downside is that I don't think he brings you the defense that you want. He'll bring you the intensity. He plays hard and he'll give you the effort, but I don't think that he's scaring anybody defensively. And so he's somebody that I would understand because he has the talent, he has the ability to play in this league, and he could be an asset. I also am not the highest on it, and at the end of this, I am going to give who I would prefer. I would target the backup point guard spot in free agency. Well, let's see first. Let's see how the draft shakes out. Um, we need a bigger four who can shoot and defend. I mean, let's see if Bobby Clement can be that first before we go out and get somebody else. Let me see. We need a four. Tobias is on an expiring contract. When Stu went down, our front court took a hit. Well, that's why Tolu Smith can be our third string center. And playing with the main club, I think if he doesn't come into training camp and blow us away and say, "Hey, I'm demanding this spot by my play," I think you go out and you go and get that guy, be a third string backup big. Maybe we go and get James Wiseman again, right, and leave Tolu Smith in the G League. But he played well enough in the G. I think he's going to do well and earn that spot. Um, some of these other comments here. Uh, I think when drafting, how the players are in the head is quite important. Facts. Facts. I think so as well. Um, one of the things that I've taken a look at is what is the mentality of this roster, of this team. And yes, you want high IQ players. That's really important. But you also want dogs. You also want dogs. And I think that that's what this team's identity is, more so than just high IQ. Like these guys have really good IQs and a decent feel for the game. Some more than others, as always. Uh, and they're also really good locker room guys. Guys who genuinely get along. I think that's something that was constantly talked about all season long. These guys like each other. They genuinely like each other, and they play for one another. But they're also dogs. And when I look at Ben Seraph, I think he's a dog, but I don't know if he's the type of dog that Detroit wants. We want the dog that doesn't mind getting into a little bit of a scrap, doesn't mind getting into your face, doesn't mind uh, pushing the boundary, pushing that line, plays physical, most importantly, plays defense. And so, even though that there's guys that are talented, I wouldn't mind us getting. I generally, always say reinforce your identity. Always reinforce the culture. Whoever you bring in should maintain what you're trying to do there and grow within it. And it's easier to grab somebody who already identifies with your team identity than it is trying to get someone to switch over into that. The next guy I want to talk about, Cam Jones out of Marquette. If you had the opportunity to take a look at him, take a look at him. Go on YouTube, take a look. The man's a bucket. And he's one of those guys that either they flame out, they come and they go, or they become that guy who ends up having a 12 to 15-year career who just his game works in the NBA. They're going to play defense. They got a good IQ. They have leadership intangibles. They figure out a way to consistently be effective and contribute to winning throughout their entire career. And I think that he's going to be one of those guys. 6'4" and a half, 6'6" wingspan. He was a combo scoring guard last season. Then his point guard got drafted. I think it's the point guard who's now with the New York Knicks. Got drafted by them and unfairly got bench splinters by Tom Thibodeau. Uh, Tyler Kolek, I think. And then this year they asked him to do more playmaking, facilitating, and he stepped into that role almost seamlessly, and had a great year. He had a great season. And what that allowed me to see, excuse me, adjust my glasses here. What that allowed me to see is that he knows how to play. He has the IQ and the work ethic to grow his game, to adapt to what his team needed. And when you're able to show a diverse skill set from shot creation, shot making, playmaking, facilitating, which in my other videos I explain the difference between those things. Some guys are good shot makers, right? Or you might call them play finishers. You swing the ball around, open three, knock down the shot, it's good. Then you have shot creators. These are guys who dance with the ball, like your Benedict Mathurin types, right? They just have a nose for the basket, figure out where to get to. Then you have playmakers. These are the guys you put the ball in their hands and they make something happen. Think Karis LeVert, right? Either they're going to get a shot or they're going to draw an extra defender and kick the ball to a wide open guy who is either going to get a wide open shot or put the defense in a scrambling transit, a scrambling, not transition, rotation, right? And that gives you an advantage. So you want guys who can do that for you. And then there are facilitators. Facilitators are the guys who come down and they set the table for everyone else. Swing the ball around, get the ball to where it needs to be, and they get your offense started. That's your Trey Jones, Tyus Jones type. Now, here's the thing. I saw somebody in there say Trey Jones. He would like Trey Jones. I like Trey Jones, but I'm not going to bring him in to replicate what I already got in Marcus Sasser. I know Trey Jones is a better facilitator than Marcus Sasser, but he's nowhere near the shot maker that Marcus Sasser is. And I'm pretty sure they're about on par defensively and around the same positional size. So I'm not going to spend money for what I already got. Right? That's like going out to eat and you already got food at home, good food at home. It's like, why? When you're mature, you just don't do that. But here's the thing. Um, Cam Jones, I think he has the opportunity to come in and contribute from day one. I think he could play on and off the ball, and he'll be a guy who's going to be a leader in the locker room. He can defend, and I love guys who are leaders in their locker room. If you've been a captain for your team at the college level, at the NCAA level, competing at the highest level, and your team has been able to trust you, been able to take on leadership responsibilities, leading other players. Generally, those guys figure out how to continue leading in almost unspoken ways. Those are guys who show up early, work hard, pay attention in film, understand what the team is trying to do, stay within the concept, are able to play within the system. They contribute to winning. They figure out ways to be effective, even if their shots not dropping, even if they're not getting shots. And those guys are always valuable, right? The Ben Shepherd type, right? Ben Shepherd's not going to screw anything up for you, may not also make things better for you. But he's gonna show up and do enough to keep him out there because he's gonna continue to contribute to winning. Even though he didn't have a good game seven, it looked like the moment was way too big for him. All I say is I think Cam Jones can be a great asset. Now we got some other guys. Hugo Gonzalez is a guy that I'm not mad at. These are all guys that were expected to be in the first round, but because of some other risers, they've dropped into the second round. And so I got to put it out there because they're first round talents. They just haven't been able to hold on to their spot with other guys rising, like Maxime Reynaud, Cedric Coward. Some of these guys are just better, but it doesn't mean that these guys aren't good also. Hugo Gonzalez, really tough, feisty Spanish player. I think he played for Real Madrid, about 6'6". You would think that he's a shooter. He's not necessarily really a shooter like that. Knocks down shots, but isn't really like that high volume guy. Isn't necessarily like a Con Knuppel type. But it does have some playmaking. Plays extremely aggressively. Looks to get downhill. Doesn't mind getting to the free throw line over and over, hitting the deck. He's just going to play hard. And those guys are always great to have on your roster. You need a guy who brings that energy. You know what I mean? And he definitely would. Drake Powell out of North Carolina. Another wing, 6'6" guy, very athletic, good wingspan, is going to play both ends. But here's the thing that I'm concerned about with somebody like Drake Powell. What is your definable skill? What is your skill that I can rely upon? And I don't know if he's shown that. Drake Powell hasn't shown he has a definable skill, but he has the physical intangibles, the physical tools. And I think that he can become a guy if he's your number ninth or 10th guy on the bench. He can maybe spend some time in the G League, and eventually come up, ironing out his jump shot, and be that athletic dude who can get out there, get you some steals, deflections, and be a contributor. Get on the offensive glass, get out in transition, um, be a versatile, switchable defender. I think he can become that. But there's some better options that I'm also going to get to. Adu Thero, very similar to Drake Powell. What is the definable skill? He said, hell no. Sandro, tell me about him. What do you know about Drake? Drake Powell, that is. Um, but it's to say, uh, I think that Adu Thero is a similar type of a player, though he's longer and more athletic. I think he has a higher, I'm not gonna say just upside, but I would say he has a higher floor because physically, oh, you talking about the rapper? Yeah. So I think physically, Adu Thero has some tools that can allow him to contribute from day one. He's going to be able to rebound, finish over the top of the defense, move without the ball, just physically. He's going to be able to play that 3-4 role for us. But likely, he starts in the G League. I don't think that he's a type of guy that's going to demand playing time uh, off rip. I think he's going to be in the G League, but still a good talent that I wouldn't be mad at if we got a number 37. A couple other guys. I know we worked out Janai Broom. I'd rather not. I'd rather not. Hanson Yang is reported to maybe be around here, but I think he already has a promise somewhere in the first round. So I don't think that he's going to be. I'm looking on Tankathon just to get a general idea of what the draft order is and who's going to be available. Then you have Ryan Kalkbrenner. Now, Ryan Kalkbrenner, I like a lot. I think as your third string center, he is more than solid. Multiple time defensive player of the year for his conference. He was a team leader, captain, best player for several years in a row. I think Ryan Kalkbrenner could be a great asset, especially if we look at Tolu Smith and say, I don't think that he's our guy. I don't think he's the guy you want to go into the playoffs and he's your third string backup center, and you may end up needing to use him for major minutes as your backup center in the playoffs. So if that's what you're looking at in regards to Tolu Smith and you made your decision, I'm not mad at Ryan Kalkbrenner. He's a legitimate 7-footer. He's got like a 7'5" wingspan, really good defensively, maintains verticality, tough, physical guy, sets great screens, great lob threat. I mean, not great lob threat, but solid lob threat. Who's going to do all the little things. And he's great. It's great to have a solid 7-footer, especially when your starting center is 6'10", right? Isaiah Stewart, 6'9". You want some legitimate size. Hearing the Suns are targeting him in the first round, I would not be shocked. I would not be shocked if Ryan Kalkbrenner was targeted by the Suns. I would be shocked if he doesn't get drafted in the first round, to be honest, because I just think that he's better than some of the other options. Let me see. See. Now, here's a guy that I've been talking about all year. Chaz Lanier. I think he could legitimately become a Desmond Bain type of a shooter. He's got more length, so he's going to be better defensively, but staying in the NCAA for several years, being a high level shooter, scorer for his team, a leader on his team, a guy that his team has had to depend upon. I think Chaz Lanier is the type of guy who comes in from day one and he can shoot it. He could just flat out shoot it. He's going to be able to knock down shots. He's going to be able to um, basically get to his spots. He knows his game. He's not someone you're going to have to, put into the G League to help him figure it out. He's coming in from day one. He's not a Reed Shepard. He's going to have to get his confidence and ready to step up to this level. Look, I think he's going to be ready. And I would not be shocked if he doesn't end up going to a team who needs a shooter. And the moment he gets an opportunity to potentially start, he never gets taken out of the starting lineup. He could be like a Jalen Wells. I think he's that level of shooter. Moves great without the ball. He can put the ball on the floor. Um, he's a bucket. Kind of reminds me of Marcus Thornton back in the day. Smaller, undersized shooter, kind of like a Malik Beasley. Great confidence. Played for the Sacramento Kings. I think he had one season where he averaged like 20 points a game. Just lit it up. And I think that Chaz Lanier has an opportunity to do just that. Now, some of the guys who I've talked about, but maybe less talked about in general. Two guys. One we just brought in for a workout, and the other I don't think we've brought in for a workout yet. The first one, pull up. No, it's not Kobe Bryant. Where it? Kobe Sanders. Kobe Sanders. You know, Kobe Sanders was a dude. Played for Cal Poly here in California. Um, Transferred to the University of Nevada. He has great positional size. Great positional size. He's the type of guard wing player that you could only hope to find. That you can only hope that no one else sees what you see. He is 6'7". I want to say 6'7" and change without shoes. So he's playing at over 6'8". Only has about a 6'8", 6'9" wingspan. So doesn't have a great wingspan, but played point guard throughout most of his life. And if you follow, which I hope you do, my man James Barlow um, and his brother, they have a podcast, Locked On NBA. Great podcast. Go check it out. You get great content for the NBA draft. He's a guy who uh, Barlow, that is, interviewed Kobe Sanders, who was a short, undersized point guard going into high school. Gradually, throughout high school, started growing and just kept growing. And by the end of high school, he went from like 5'8" at the beginning, 5'8". So you know he was locked in as a point guard, right? Wasn't no shooting guard stuff. He was a point guard. That was it. That was all you're gonna be able to do. And he grew to 6'2". Then he grew to 6'4", 6'5". He said like each summer he would come back about 2 inches taller. And eventually by the end of his senior year, he was like 6'6". And then when he went into college, he kept growing and ended up 6'7", close to 6'8" now, almost 6'9" in shoes. And some of the teams that he was on tried, he said, tried to play him on the wing, didn't want to let him play point guard. And he said, nope, I want to be on the ball. Ended up in the University of Nevada that we all should know here. The Martin twins came from. So Cody Martin and what's the other Martin brother? One plays for Miami, the other one plays for, let's say, Dallas, something like that, or Philly, one of the two. All I'll say is um, wings who play with the ball in their hand heavily. They do a lot of playmaking, a lot of shot creation. They get a chance to get into their bag. Yeah, Caleb Martin. Thank you. Appreciate you, Joshua. I always say I got one of the best chats. You guys always got the stats for me. Keep me locked in. But it's to say that I think Kobe Sanders has an opportunity to come into the NBA and be one of those guys that shocks a lot of people. I think Sanders can come in and contribute from day one. He's an upperclassman who has been a versatile playmaker, shot creator. He's been someone that we've been able to, how would you say, see see play his full game, right? His full game. And this is important because when you look at guys like, let's say, a Drake Powell, you're kind of drafting him with the allure of the upside. He didn't get a chance to really show everything he could do, right? And that's just a reality. Not everybody gets a chance to show what they can do. We know Kobe Sanders got a chance to show everything he could do. And he averaged about what, 17 points a game. Let me pull it up here. Here we go. Hold on. Be patient with me. Be patient with me. Appreciate y'all patience. Get his stats. Then you want to say he averaged around 16, 17 points a game. Sanders. Here we go. Kobe Sanders. Ah, sorry, y'all. Kobe Sanders. Here we go. Kobe. Just looked it up yesterday. Yep. Kobe Sanders. Here we go. All right. And stats. Yep. Boom. Ah, stop doing that. Ugh. Google, man. Leave me alone. Trying to put me on to a different. All right. Here we go. You average 16 points a game, 4 rebounds, 4.5 assists. The reason why I like guys who have shown us what they can do is because they know their game. They know their game. You see, if the guy you're drafting, if all they have to show when it comes to their game is what they think they can do, what they maybe have done in the past in high school, that's cool. That's cool. Bruh, I get man, you getting on me, man. Calling me Unc too. Damn. Damn. Nah, it's just I've got so many stats on it. I got draft lists. I have rosters pulled up. I got like 4 or 5 tabs with just stats and stuff like that. I like to be able to see it. All to say is when you know what you can do because you've proven it, you come into the league different. You come into the league as someone who understands how they're going to contribute, and you actually have the experiences to call upon. Right, like some of I'm about to get into Jameer Watkins too. Some of y'all know, my background is in psychology, um, and one of the things that I talk about is how your brain is able to recall information. And when you have had success in high leverage moments, your brain is able to recall that information. And that's what breeds confidence many times. And we know for the NBA, confidence is king. You can have talent, you can have skill. If you're not confident, it don't mean shit. Right. Miles Turner in the finals in the playoffs was not as confident as the Miles Turner that we see throughout the regular season. He's just not. He's not. It is what it is. Not everybody's built to elevate their game. But when you see guys like J Dub, you see guys that are drafted further down, less fanfare, you recognize that you can have NBA level confidence and NBA level talent, even if you're not able to showcase it on the greatest of stages in the NCAA. But if you can prove that you can play at a high level consistently year after year, and he's had multiple years averaging double figures, right, contributing for his team at a high level. When you've proven it, you generally come into the NBA and you're far more assertive. You're far more apt to be able to adjust your game because you know your game. You know what works for you. You know what plays work for you. You know where your spots are. You know what you're looking for. You're not just kind of winging it, figuring it out. And those guys who are winging it and figuring it out generally take longer to acclimate and many times find themselves out the league before they know it because teams just don't have a lot of time. They just don't. There's just way too much talent in the NBA today. Way too much. I think about a dude out of Michigan years ago, Jalen Wilson, I think it was. Um, 6'10, forward, athletic, talented, right? Bounced around the league, still trying to figure himself out. And even though he's acclimating, he needs a chance to prove it. He hasn't proven it at any point yet. Still waiting for that opportunity. All right. There's a bunch of guys in the NBA. On the Minnesota Timberwolves, they got this dude. Told you, I always got stats pulled up here. Y'all don't be thinking I know. Sandro, you trying to tell me I don't know how to use my phone here. See my man in Minnesota. What's his name? Leonard Miller. Play for the G League. Ignite, lefty, forward, 6'9", 6'10", athletic, smooth athlete. Has a lot of tangible skills, but just hasn't proven it. It's hard to crack a rotation, and you haven't proven. That's why I like somebody like Kobe Sanders. He's proven it. He knows who he is. He knows what he is. I think he comes in and he does work. I think he slides in between Ron Holland and Marcus Sasser and gives us that depth at that guard wing rotation that we're missing. I think he's going to legitimately be able to get us into our offense, set the table for us, do some shot creation, and be a versatile defender. I think he'll be able to guard potentially 1 through 4, if not at least 2 through 4. And that's a huge asset. If you saw in these playoffs, man, when you have positional size, versatile players who can do some playmaking and defend, that's, bro, that's just a wild card. And then the last guy that I want to bring up here, and someone else already spoiled it. Y'all be spoiling it. Delano, yes, Delano Banton esque, except he has a little bit thicker body. He's like maybe 230 pounds, 225, 230 pounds. Delano Banton is more lightweight, maybe only about 210, 215, 220 at the most, but probably like 215. And he's more of a perimeter oriented guy, not so much of a shot creator. Um, Definitely improved his jump shot, but more of a straight line drive or in transition. He's not going to create a shot. Kobe Sanders can create his own shot. He can post up smaller guards, get to the rim. But yes, play styles similar. But the one who somebody in here already spoiled, my last guy that I've been talking about, that I really like, is Jameer Watkins out of Florida State. Uh, I've been talking about him over and over. This brother has the ability to defend multiple positions. He showed us this playing in the. Let me get his stats here real quick. Played in the draft combine, locked up. What was the point guard for Auburn? Tahad Pettiford. Tahad Pettiford shot lights out, had a great first game. Second game, coach said, "You know what, Jameer? Lock him down." And Jameer made his life terrible. Terrible. So bad. Tahad Pettiford ended up going back to school. After the first game, he looked like he was a lock for the first round. After the second game, bruh. So we'll see him next year. Right? Ended up with, I want to say, like 5 steals in that game, knocked down a few threes, got to the rim, got out in transition. He looked like a taller, broader Iman Shumpert. You know, not a fan of drafting a guard wing, but Jameer Watkins is a dog. Fact. Facts. And when you look at how the NBA is moving, I'm not a big fan of copying. I am a fan of acknowledging where you need to have depth because of how other teams are positioning themselves. The New York Knicks have a dearth of wings. When we were coming at them with guards and they had wings, we got swallowed up. Right? We had Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr. trying to go at what's his name? Shoot, what am I thinking of for the New York Knicks? OG Anunoby, Mikal Bridges, Josh Hart. Right? You can't bring a knife to a gunfight. Small guards who can't defend against elite two-way wings, right? It just doesn't work. And so you're going to need depth. And you want guys who can come in and defend multiple positions so that you can free up your stars so that they don't have to exert as much energy in those roles. If you can get a Jameer Watkins, who I think can contribute from day one, he might end up in our G League just to, iron out his jump shot a little bit. But I don't think he necessarily needs to be in the G League. He might be there just for minutes purposes, just to keep playing, depending upon how he does in the summer league, if we were to draft him. But as to say, I think that he's someone who can be that ninth, 10th, 11th guy in the rotation that if and when there's an injury, knock on wood, right? Shit happens. That can come in and give us valuable minutes. Valuable minutes. Meaning that he doesn't take away from what we're doing. He adds to it. He gives us the depth that we need despite the injury to sustain ourselves to keep winning So when the guy comes back, we haven't skipped a beat. I think he's one of those guys. I think he ends up being like a Vince Williams in Memphis with the Grizzlies. He ends up being a guy who becomes a guy that just lasts in the league. You know what he's going to give you. He's valuable off the bench. He's going to play defense. He could do some playmaking. He's going to knock down shots when you need him to, enough to justify his minutes out there. And he's going to defend at a high level. Those guys are invaluable in the NBA today. You can't have enough of those guys. You just can't. And so those are the guys that I'm generally grouping for this draft. Jameer Watkins, Kobe Sanders, uh, what's his name? I just said him. My shooter, Chaz Lanier, Adu Thero, Ryan Kalkbrenner, Drake Powell, Cam Jones, Hugo Gonzalez, Ben Seraph. That's the group. That's the group for number 37. If I'm Trajan Langdon, I probably want Kobe Sanders of anybody else. Look, he didn't shoot amazing from three, but those type of guys, similar to Jameer Watkins, because they have a higher offensive load, the quality of threes that they get is lower. And so their three-point efficiency isn't necessarily due to their ability as it is the quality. Wait, have you heard of Kevin Durant to Rockets? I know it's random. Basically talking about, you know what? I haven't talked about it yet. I need to, but I also think that there's more moves. But it is worth talking about. I appreciate you reminding me to talk about it. Sorry, if you caught me from the beginning of this live, I was out all weekend, Juneteenth weekend out here in Oakland, East Bay. It was lit. It was. I was at Lake Fest. Man. It was a great weekend. Let me just put it that way. It was a great weekend. So I didn't get as much of a chance to do as many videos. But I will be doing a video on Kevin Durant to the Houston Rockets. I think that puts them right there at the top of the West. Amen Thompson running the show, Fred Van Vliet. I think they figure out one or two more moves. I don't think that they want to have to trust Reed Shepard and what's his name off the bench as much. So, but I digress. I'm gonna get into that more later. All I say is that's our block. In an ideal world, Beasley isn't playing significant minutes in the playoffs. His track record shows not performing. Change against the Knicks. Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, Malik Beasley did exactly what he does for a team. Gives them great shooting throughout the regular season. Really buoys your offense, and then hopefully in the playoffs you have enough supplementary uh, players that you don't depend upon them. After turn 120, damn, I look good for 120. You feel me? I'm only 78. You feel me? But either way, yo, I hope y'all had a great weekend, this Juneteenth weekend. I appreciate y'all rocking with me for this long. It's probably the longest live I think I've ever done. But this was fun. There was a lot to talk about. Definitely gonna get into the Rockets trade now that the offseason has started. I think there's gonna be a lot more trades coming up. I'm here for it. Look for some shorts. I'm gonna do the little short, little 2 to 3 minute vids. I'll probably talk about some other smaller moves going on, and then some bigger ones later on. But hey, it's your man 100 grand Ross with the Rock Never Stops. If you enjoyed the video, please smash that like button. I have 14, 17 people up in here, only 7 likes. Please smash the like button for me. Helps with the channel, the algorithm. I appreciate all your love and support. Um, yeah, enjoy the rest of your day and this summertime. Stay safe. And I'm gonna get at y'all next time.